Lately, I've been critiquing Hoyoverse gacha games and trying to encourage meaningful discussion around them. When it comes to these types of discussions, I find myself leaning towards areas of perceived weakness or concerns I may have for the future. Today, I want to take a step back and reconnect with why I fell in love with Genshin Impact in the first place. Because, despite all its flaws, there is a lot to love about this game. I hope you won't mind a more positive approach today. Let's start at the beginning. I picked up this game in version 1.4 during the Windbloom patch. Much like everyone else, I couldn't go anywhere because of COVID, but there was an additional layer for me. I just had an emergency surgery that unfortunately left me blind for roughly a month. After that time, I was very thankful to slowly regain my vision, and I was strictly ordered to rest. I decided that this would be the best time to check out this game everyone was going crazy over, and that was Genshin Impact. At the time, I had no idea that this game would become the distraction I needed from the rough patch I was in, so you can imagine there's already a more personal connection to this game for me. To add a note here, I wouldn't be able to leave the house for another 3 years, minus my doctor's appointments, because of my eyes and the condition I was in. With that bit of backstory out of the way, my first impressions of the game went from, oh cool, something new to check out, to completely in awe as I played through the story quests. Granted, at the time only Mondstadt and Liyue were out, but I played gacha games before and I wasn't expecting much. Cute characters, maybe a blurb about them, and then I'll go fight some stuff. No. Genshin had completely blown the genre out of the water, and it was after I completed Venti's story quest that I realized why this game was so popular. The pullable units weren't just cute or cool, they had a story. There were voice lines that helped emphasize their personality and quests that immerse yourself into the world. Amber, Kaya, and Lisa didn't feel like your typical starter units. They had stories of their own, and it was so much fun unraveling them. Not to mention, these characters interacted with each other in interesting ways. One of my favorite dialogue exchanges from the very beginning of the game is when Jean and Diluc talk about pet turtles.
No, seriously, it does though. In fact, it's how I used to find my tortoise
You
whenever
should
he
really
went
bring
missing.
the Knights of Favonius with you next time.
Wait! You had a pet tortoise?
Yes, why? Something wrong, Paimon?
No, it's, well, just surprising is all.
Why?
Paimon can't imagine Jean having a pet tortoise. Surely you find it hard to imagine too, Master Diluc.
No, I don't. I had one too when I was a kid. What's so strange about it?
I never would have guessed those two to have turtles. Suddenly, little facts like that made them all the more interesting. I looked forward to learning more and seeing different character dynamics. I still remember the first time I found Liyue Harbor. At first I was a bit exhausted as the map felt so huge back then, but once I walked into the city, the setting was so pretty. You can easily tell where they took inspiration from, that being China, and meeting a whole new nation and its characters was just as exciting. It's clear that I have a lot of fond nostalgic memories from the beginning of Genshin Impact, but I want to highlight other aspects of this game that made me appreciate it. The combat system at the time was both simple and interesting. The idea of mixing different elements together for reactions was fun. I lacked a pyro unit for the longest time, often relying on Amber. Dragonspine was fun because of that, so I did a lot of freeze teams back then. Then as the game got older, when Dendro released, I was pretty hyped, and it added a new flavor of fun into the game's mechanics. I remember using my free Kale a lot to try out these new reactions, and then eventually got Tighnari on his debut banner. This was also when we got a pretty strong Traveler with the Dendro element. I still think my Traveler stays on Dendro whenever I run around. The music of this game is never a miss. Seriously, some of my favorite tracks include Tender Strength, A Riddle for Wonders.
We all nestle under the great tree of wisdom, peering out to perceive the world. From the earth and from the rain, we perceive its wonders, until we become a white bird to perch atop a branch, and finally snap off the most important leaf.
And Sinner's Finale, which has a French name that I can't pronounce.
Hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
The music helps bring the setting together, not to mention it's just nice to listen to when I'm working on my art or other tasks. If I want a relaxing theme, I pull up Fontaine's Underwater playlist, or the Old Summer playlist from the Golden Apple Archipelago. Let me know if you were around for those Summer Island events, because those hold a special place in my heart. I can't bring up the music without talking about the character demos and trailers. While this isn't in the game per se, it's definitely a part of what made me love Genshin Impact's world and characters. To think that every character has a unique trailer that highlighted part of them was cool. The animated trailers are easily one of my biggest inspirations whenever I try to do animations myself. Can we also take a moment to appreciate how much better these trailers have become over the years? I thought it was impressive way back then, but now they just have more fluid movement, fun themes, and a way to highlight the characters. Plus, I think it's nice that the old tradition to rewatch Zhongli's trailer every time a new character comes out. His trailer may be old, but damn, the music is good in that one. As a quick side note, the trailers continue to become better with their other titles too, like Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero. My favorite trailer of all time is still Monodrama, featuring Sparkle from HSR. And lately, Vivian's trailer from ZZZ has such a unique art style to bring her story together. I'm a huge lore gremlin, and this game is not short of it. If you want to learn more about a specific character, you can check their vision story. Though I do wish we got to see more of the story rather than just reading about it, but there's still a lot of interesting nuances you can discover about the characters. Remember when everyone was memeing on Ganyu for the fact that she was too chubby to be eaten when she was younger? That's part of it. The game is littered with lore crumbs throughout its artifacts, books, and character stories, but again, I just wish it wasn't reading walls of text. Signora's entire story is told through one of these artifact sets, for example. How cool would it have been if she had gotten her own little trailer or animated showcasing this? I actually believe there's a fan-made version of it somewhere. I'll show it on screen if I can find it. There's actually one more aspect that's not directly in the game that I've come to love: the fans. I know, I heard what I just said. There's definitely a passionate part of the Genshin community that goes overboard way too often, but the spaces I find myself interacting with most are the fellow artists. I love seeing fan art of my favorite characters. I enjoy seeing people make little comics online about interactions they'd like to see in the game. Of course, there's also the big Hoyo Fair that drops every so often, showcasing all these amazing creatives and their work. Seriously, some of the ideas they come up with and bring to life are cool. If you want to see more of the characters you love, I highly suggest looking into Hoyo Fair. I love Genshin Impact, and it's been a game I continue to play even now in version 5.5 as I'm writing this. However, this doesn't mean I'm completely satisfied with it. It's actually because I love this game so much that I'm willing to point out areas of weakness in hopes that it can become better. That's why I often find myself being critical, or trying to start conversations to see what people think. So, I want to know what made you love Genshin Impact. I mentioned a few different reasons such as music, lore, art styles, and of course nostalgic memories from early on. And if you're still playing Genshin despite the ups and downs over the years, why? I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, if you like gacha content, I have some other videos you can watch next if you'd like. Until next time.